Good morning, good day, good evening. My name is Jonathan Regan, also known as New Questions from blockchaineducation.com.au. We're going to do another altcoin market recap. Bitcoin, not so fantastic. We slid from $10,000 back down to the $7,000 level. We're going to talk about Bitcoin, but more importantly, we're going to talk about a whole bunch of altcoins that have gone up hundreds of percent, if not thousands of percent. Seriously, 1,000% in 1 week by a coin called Data on huge amounts of volume. We're going to have a look at that. The algorithm picked that up very early and did 1,000% and then 400%. Absolutely ridiculous. Altcoin market doing interesting things. A lot of coins moving up as much as 10, 20, 30, 40% in 1 week, covering that recent decline in US dollar value versus Bitcoin. So beautiful way to hedge. If you're in Bitcoin and you're just holding on from that $10,000 point, probably not a great idea. We're going to have a look at this sustained multi-week downtrend and why you shouldn't just simply blindly hold onto your Bitcoin. If you're actually interested in accumulating, you should either go back into US dollars or US dollar tether and just wait for a reversal pattern, or you should be actively trading altcoins and making money all the way down. So let's start with a recap on Bitcoin. More of the same. As you can see, we've had this sustained multi-week downtrend below the 200 moving average. You can see, I'll just move that over there. You can see this light blue line here is the 200 moving average. The price staying well below it. We attempted to get above here, rejected here again, and continuing lower and lower and lower and lower. And what we actually found is that we've got a series of sustained lower highs. So these are the lower highs. You can see we keep coming through. We keep making lower highs. We had an attempt here to make a higher high, but ultimately we've continued down and we might actually make a lower high here. We've also got a series of lower lows. You can see this is characteristics of a downtrend, and that's what we're seeing. The red bands there kind of showing, does that mean that the next lower low is going to be down there? Well, we don't really know right now, but I have a feeling that we're actually going to be heading down lower unless we can get above this 200 moving average. So let's go and have a look at the 4-hour chart. More of the same. We had that recent explosion back up into the $14,000 area, but then we came back down in this direction. We had another explosion back up into this $10,000 area. And as I said, this entire section here is not something you really want to see. When should we have got out? Well, it's pretty obvious to see when the ADX went below threshold. You can see just in this area here, we went below the threshold. That means we're no longer uptrending. That particular point in time came sort of just in this area here. I'll just go up here. You can see that this probably here was a good time to get out. That was probably a 50% retrace. We can actually check that. I have a feeling it was actually. We go up here. No, 61.8% Fibonacci retrace. So in other words, if we take this as one of our extremes and this is the other extreme, the price came back into this area, came back to 60% of that recent high. And from that point onwards, we went DI negative down here. Actually, we didn't. We went below the threshold. We started going DI negative here. So this was definitely the final exit. Like, you don't want to be in Bitcoin from this point onwards, and this is when it actually broke 9,000. As soon as we broke below that $9,000 level, we just continue to go lower. Like I said, lower lows, lower highs, well below the 200 moving average. Good, chunky, thick, red DI negative stuff here for the ADX. Pretty obvious which direction we're actually going. Was this the bottom? I'm not so sure. I kind of feel like this 50 moving average, this orange line here running through the middle, this is the 50 moving average. It's still firmly pointing down. So not such a great time for Bitcoin. You want to definitely think about getting into US dollar tether as it rolled over underneath the 50 moving average here. Let's talk about altcoins. So we've seen a decline in volume recently. Binance posting some fairly low volume, a lot of activity in the Binance futures market, people shorting Bitcoin, making a lot of money as it goes down, a lot of longs getting liquidated at the same time. A lot of value sitting on the sidelines. Maybe people went out of altcoins, went into Bitcoin, went out of Bitcoin into US dollar tether. And that's the smart play if you're not actively trading every day, just to sit in US dollars or euros, just while Bitcoin continues this downtrend. Where we stop, nobody really knows. We could go as low as $6,000 or even $5,000 through Christmas. And it might be better just to be sitting in Tether or US dollars if you're not going to be planning on trading some of these moves that we're talking about. If you are, on the other hand, enjoying the altcoin trading, and why wouldn't you? Some of these percentages are absolutely nuts. I would encourage you to stick in it. We're going to see a lot of continued uptrends as Bitcoin declines in value. These altcoins, these blockchain digital tokens, some of them quite juvenile and immature and young. The market hasn't decided what sort of price to give these coins. And so we get these sustained solid uptrends, sometimes 100, 200, 300% in just a week or two. Let's have a look at some of these. Matic is a pretty amazing coin. We'll have a look at Matic on the 4-hour and we'll just have a look at what's going on here. So you can see obviously there's an explosion straight across this algorithm entry here as we blew across that 200 moving average. I'm going to go into the 45-minute candle and we're going to have a look at, this is actually versus US dollar tether. And I just wanted to point something out here. Even if you're in US dollars because you're concerned about that Bitcoin downtrend, if you're in US dollars, you can still trade other coins. And across this 200 divide, the Blitz candle, we went as high as, what is that, 60% in 2 days. 60% in 2 days against US dollars. So regardless of what Bitcoin does, you've just made 60% possibly against US dollars. So there are opportunities if you sell out of Bitcoin in a downtrend just to sit in US dollars and trade other coins against US dollars, Matic being one of them. 60% in 2 days. Pretty insane. Versus Bitcoin, it's just done similarly well. If you're interested in Bitcoin, you can actually see here exploding out of that 200 zone, going as high as, what are we, like 89, 90%, so 87% in 8 days. The better part of 90% against Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin lost 30% in value against US dollar tether, but if you decided to get into Matic on some of our signals, then you're up 90%, and the trend doesn't seem to be declining in any sort of real strength now. You can go have a look here. As I can see, pretty insane strength here for Matic. Now, we saw VIB, Vibrate, we've talked about this plenty of times before. You can see obviously that this was a grand time to exit. What a great time to exit. Let's put on my RSI bands. You can see that we had this series of higher lows all the way up here, bounced off the 200 moving average here, and an explosive move right up here. Our guys know that this is the perfect opportunity to exit. I mean, we're miles and miles above where the 200 moving average is here. Excellent time. And obviously somebody else had that in mind as we see this giant, massive candle. What is that? That's worth the better part of a 38% move in 45 minutes. So that would have erased any gains that you made unless you really knew what you were doing. Definitely want to be actively trading here. You can see beautiful move out of here. Let's look how simple this is. Come across the 200 moving average. Just a beautiful long-term uptrend here. Really, really nice, obvious green Madrid pans here. Beautiful move across the 200 and the 50. DI positive right about here. Absolutely massive move. Let's have a look. We're talking off that 200 moving average going as high as 126% in 15 days. Absolutely beautiful move by VIB. We're going to go and have a look at ENG. ENG also Enigma doing great things. A very insane pattern here. Like when you can see, just as I'm doing this, we're basically making a new higher high right about now. You can see that initially we had this entry as we came across this 200 moving average. What an explosive move up here, but look where it bounced back to, the 50 moving average. Once again, part of our methodology, nothing unexpected there. Let's go and have a look at the 45 minute because this really tells a great story. Once again, we can see that there was algorithmic entries here. We're looking at accumulating here, accumulating again on the 200 moving average. So there was plenty of trades here. That cyclic nature of our methodology, we talked about that so many times before. If you remember, you understand what this means. Ultimately, we're looking at 73% in a week, and then coming out of that zone, we went another 53%. And once again, coming out of that 200 moving average, we're up another 33%, and we're still DI positive. You can see the cyclic nature, the cyclic nature. There's one here, there's one here, there's one here. So this is nothing unusual. It's all part of our methodology. It's something that we expect to see and something that we are seeing plenty of times before. Let's look at FET, Fetch, AI, beautiful move. Another example where we've come across that 200 moving average. We've got an algorithmic entry and we're now making higher highs. What are we at? 41% in 3 days. Once again, same sort of setup. massive chunks of DI positive material here on the ATM, the ADX rather. Beautiful bounce into that 200 moving average. We know that's an accumulation zone, and once again we've exploded up. Series of higher lows and a series of higher highs. Are we going to get up here to 750? 750 is a psychological area. I have a feeling that FET is going to go all the way. Similar to what One did recently. Let's go and have a look at One Harmony. Same sort of move. So coming out of that 200 moving average, pink barbies, there's your blitz entry, coming out straight off here, going as high as, like, so where did we go here? Like, we went as high as 40% in 2 days, continues higher, series of higher lows, as you can see, and also a series of higher highs, continuing stronger. Probably just going to be popping up there. Are we going to go to this 100 psychological Satoshi level 100? I have a feeling that we'll just keep meandering that way. We'll get up there. So 90 to 100, that's another 10% left in One. DGD, we're going to drop down on the 15-minute because DGD is often seen as some sort of hedge. I'm not sure why. I suppose it's backed by gold, supposedly. We're going to have a look at this DGD coin, and we can see that once again we had an algorithmic entry as it crossed over the 200 moving average, going as high as 45% in 2 days. Let's do that. Yeah, 46% in 2 days. Once again, same sort of pattern. Rolling over here, look, DI negative, rolling over. You don't want to be in it from here on outwards. This is a good opportunity to be selling. 200 moving average, potentially a place to pick up some more. We've got to watch this ADX down here to see if we're going to get some entry signals here. If we find stability here, then we could end up making a higher high around about 200. So DGD, also an interesting way to hedge against the decline in Bitcoin value versus US dollars. Let's talk about some of the really big movers. Navcoin, picked up by our system extremely early, running 164%. Look at the entries here, like this is absolutely nuts. Fantastic little entry zone right around here. We'll go out to the 45-minute, have a quick look. So a triple pink Barbie, we go DI positive, massive chunks of green positivity here on the ADX, and going as high as 180% in a single day. I mean, that's absolutely nuts. Think about that. Here's a coin with loads and loads of volume that's gone up 180% versus Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's gone down 10, 15% in the last week and a half, 30% since the $10,000 break, 30%, whoopee-doo, 180%. Pretty insane, right? So altcoins are out there right now doing 30, 50, 70% in just a couple of days. Some of them doing 180% in just a week. Let's go and have a look at one that just went absolutely nuts. Data picked up early by our algorithms inside our signals, our hot signal system. You can see the entry down in this area here. 2 entries actually. The first one went an insane amount. I think it was 1,000%. Yeah, 1,000% in 2 days. The second one here, I think, has gone just as much, 1,000%. I'll show you those in the system here. Let's search for data. I think it's down the bottom here. Let's scroll. Down into the hot signals. Hot signals are the most aggressive signals that our system sends out. And as per normal, you can let me see if I can find those ones. 164% here for Navcoin, as we were talking about, 400% by data the first time. And I think the one that we did earlier here is at 926. So that was picked up at 149 Satoshis, which if you zoom in on this initial entry down here, let's go zoom in. We picked it up at 149, which was 149, just coming out as it crossed over the 200 here. Yeah, so there we go. Let's zoom out and stretch this all up here. Stretch. Absolutely nuts. Continuing higher. So 925% the system captured. So somewhere in this area here, that's a pretty insane early signal here. And why not? Let's have a look at the signal. DI positive, massive chunks of DI positive energy here. Really, really good looking signal on data. So as usual, Blockchain Education has automated discovery systems. If you haven't watched my recent video on the 5 pillars of success, go and watch that because that's pretty interesting about giving yourself a serious advantage over other traders. Our discovery system's picking up a whole bunch of coins. I did a bit of a quick scroll down. You can put in slow motion and see some of the insane gains. let's just really quickly go in and have a look at the call system, because I want to point out something, not just these algorithmic signals, they're absolutely insane, but I want to talk about these actual signals here. Now these are calls by our analysts, 24/7 professional analysts hired by blockchaineducation.com.au to look at these charts, create commentary, provide entries, be there and chat, assist our traders, and ultimately when they suggest an entry, it gets put into the system, and anybody using the hybrid auto trading system is automatically entered into some of these coins. So let's just have a look at some of these percentages. As you can see, in the last day and 13 hours, we've had a 23%. We're just looking at really, really good consistent calls here, 134% on that NAV call. Even the analyst picking it up. Matic, as we mentioned, 174%, running 40% on VIB, Vibrate, Luna, another 88% here in Matic. So a whole bunch of excellent automatic algorithm signals, but also these calls here by the analysts are doing extremely well. So a combination of humans and computers looking at the market, identifying opportunity, and basically serving it up on a plate. No fees, no spread, no extra commissions. We charge a one-time fee. We're doing a special right now, very limited special. We're going to shut it down probably just before Christmas. You can actually try the entire blockchain education system. You can try those 5 pillars of success. We're talking about the education system. You'll learn the methodology. You'll get access to the complete discovery system. You'll get non-stop 24/7 support, and you get access to our complete trade execution and automation platform. 5 pillars of success. Go and check that video if you haven't. And you get all that for one low price as part of blockchain education. Doing a special right now. If you haven't yet joined, but if you're getting some sort of value out of these types of videos, like, share, subscribe, comment below. Let your friends know, because ultimately Bitcoin might be declining in value against US dollar tether. But as we can see, there's hundreds of altcoins that are appreciating in value against Bitcoin. And ultimately, when you buy those and you sell them, you end up with more Bitcoin. When you sell that Bitcoin, you end up with more dollars. Now that's basically what we're here for, to help you make money. All right, my name is Jonathan Regan, also known as New Questions. I hope to see you inside the system, because things are really starting to heat up. Not often that you see a primary Binance coin running 1,000% in a week. Are you kidding me? 1,000%? All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.